Good morning, everybody. I'm Iris van Ommeren, Country Manager of the Netherlands, and I would like to welcome you to the 6th webinar of this year already. And as most of you already know, we are providing Odin, former Parallels, licenses for quite some years now. And in these years, not only their name, as you probably have noticed, but also the products and the opportunities have changed a lot. And therefore, this time we will bring two special guests to our webinar. And today, Thomas van Breen, our Odin Strategic Account Manager, and Francisco García, Odin Sales Engineer, will join. And in this webinar, we will learn how Odin solutions can help to monetize on the latest cloud market trends and how to sell more servers. And then we will also get a sneak peek at the new Plesk version. It's 12.5, the release. And also about Virtuozzo, that's Odin's unique 3-in-1 virtualization solution. Please enjoy, everybody, and now the word is up to Thomas and Francisco.
Hi, Iris. Thank you for the introduction. Francisco, you are the presenter of today. Okay. Obviously, I would like to thank Openprovider for the opportunity to allow us as Odin to participate in this monthly WebEx. We will take you through 3 of our products, as we just discussed. I think, well, it's 3 minutes past 10, so we could start with the introduction. Next slide, please. So we will go through Plesk 12.5. We will go through the basics of Plesk in general, and we will show you a few new features and enhancements we have introduced in the new version of 12.5. At this stage, the market version is 12.0. Additionally, we will discuss Virtuozzo and give you a final review, or at least already a sneak peek of Web Business Builder, which is one of our new flagship offerings for web presence, which we will release by the end of this year. Next slide, please. So a brief introduction from our end. In the call already described by Iris, I'm Thomas van Breen. I'm a strategic account manager for Odin. I work from the Amsterdam office. We recently changed our name from Parallels to Odin to avoid any confusion. We're still part of the Parallels holding. You might know Parallels from, well, obviously formerly Parallels Plesk, Parallels Virtuozzo. At this stage, we have split into two business units. So Parallels is still the brand name for all our consumer, in which we refer to cross-platform products. That means the virtualization tool for your desktop for Mac. So Parallels Desktop for Mac and Parallels Access for mobile device management are still within the Parallels business unit. So those are our consumer products. And we also have a different business unit, which is the server provider vertical, and that's the rebranded name for Odin. So once again, no mistakes. Odin is still part of Parallels, only our business unit has changed names to Odin. Francisco?
Yeah, and I'm Francisco García. I'm the sales engineer here in Barcelona office. And well, I'm just helping everybody here in Europe.
Thank you. I would like to ask everybody, instead of having a run of 45 minutes with a presentation and followed by Q&A, feel free if you have any questions throughout the presentation, just shoot, I would say unmute first, otherwise obviously we cannot hear your question, and we will discuss your question right away. So let's start with Odin Plesk 12.5. Just the basics. What is Plesk? I think all of you are familiar with web hosting and control panel and web service management. Plesk is a simple management tools for either reselling of shared web hosting services or providing a dedicated VPS management tool for web hosting management and web application management. So if you would sell servers, you would sell Plesk. At least I would highly recommend you to sell Plesk. So as Plesk 12 enables you to sell servers, I would say the way it is fit for current market standards. In the old days, we would offer Plesk based on either if it's a Windows server or if it's a Linux server. At this stage, with Plesk 12, the introduction last year, we changed the idea of having a unified. It's just a generic Plesk key that's both available for Windows and Linux, and we will take you through the changes we have made as of the introduction of Plesk 12. So, if you sell Plesk, we've made it quite easy to sell Plesk for VPS, dedicated VPS management, or shared services. The way we've done that is, instead of looking at the amount of domains you want to host, previously we had, at least if you are familiar with Plesk, we would have a Plesk 10 or a Plesk 100 or a Plesk unlimited key, and the number would stand for the amount of domains the Plesk server was allowed to manage, or at least to host. With the introduction of Plesk 12, we actually diversified from the idea that just a generic idea of web hosting and putting a server or a web server online is kind of outdated, and you need to specify a target audience. The way we did that, we qualified 4 segments in which we think the business needs for hosting and web service management are different. In terms of an app developer who basically would use the server for obviously app development services and to host the app, that 1, 2, or 3 domains would be sufficient. Why provide somebody with an expensive Plesk registration key for up to 100 domains if 1 or 2 domains would qualify already? So we've made a change in the idea of who is the target audience, who is going to use this Plesk key. So if you would want to use Plesk 12 for shared hosting services, then you could obtain a Plesk 12 web host edition, which actually allows you to manage unlimited amount of users and customers and domains on a single server. With Plesk 12 web host, you could assign different user roles. You could subscribe new resellers and end users on one single server. But again, if you want to actually address it to a web admin who wants to only manage one domain or perhaps internal domains for a company, which, I don't know, could go up to 10 domains, then why provide him with a solution for unlimited usage if 10 domains would qualify already? So it's basically we wanted to address different audiences with the same product, and I would like to run through the differences between these 4 scenarios of app development, web admins, web pros, and web hosters. As just discussed, the domains and use cases. The web admin version allows you to host up to 10 domains, the web app edition up to 5 domains, Web Pro Edition up to 30 domains, and the Web Host is an unlimited domains for hosting and reselling purposes, which allows you to manage unlimited amount of domains. I want to indicate that for both, or at least for all of these versions, we have 2 different keys. One would be a dedicated key, so you could actually provision a dedicated server with a single key, or we have the hypervisor key where you would have a virtual machine. The same Plesk 12 edition, but in a virtualized environment. For any pricing quotation, Openprovider account manager. So at least let's go through the differences on management level of these Plesk 12 keys, and also for Plesk 12.5. We have a new user interface, which will briefly take you through it. The power user interface basically simplifies the management of web services. We will show you in a minute. That's for the web app and web admin edition, a quite convenient solution. You could also obviously alter the interface by yourself. If by command line, you can actually edit or delete several functionalities. If you do not want to have your end users have certain provisions, then you could either remove or change icons in the interface. We will show you in a bit. Next slide, please. User features. I will only discuss them briefly, as Francisco will go into details regarding these features. We've noticed there's a trend and a certain demand in WordPress hosting. Again, this has also got to do with the more, I would say, old-fashioned style of one web hosting package fits all. We see now more and more trends in specialized hosting. WordPress is the main driver. There are certain research that prove that web hosting with WordPress is skyrocketing at this stage. We've implemented a WordPress toolkit, which is already enabled in Web Pro and Web Host Edition, and which is an upsell feature for the admin and Web App Edition. Same goes for the developer pack and Plesk Mobile Manager. They're included when there's a green check mark, and they're an upsell opportunity for you towards your end customers if it's assigned with a plus. Security features. One of the main improvements from Plesk 11 to Plesk 12, we have several third parties integrated as a standard opportunity for you to actually address yourself if you want to increase the security for the server or improve the security for your end customers. Several basic features like Service Shield by Cloudflare, it's included. That's the basic version, and there's an upgrade procedure as well if you want to go to the Service Shield by Cloudflare Premium Edition. So the basic functionalities are already included in the Plesk 12 and Plesk 12.5 license, but there is an opportunity to actually go to a premium version of these services by upgrading. So these are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 quick slides on the interface of Plesk 12 and Plesk 12.5. As you can see, this is one of the Web Host and Web Pro with the service provider view. On the left-hand side, you could see you can actually manage the customers, the resellers. This is a functionality that's only available for Web Host and Web Pro. And the interface itself allows you to actually see the functionalities and the availability of the server of the system, where you can manage all services by click-through menu on the left-hand side, and obviously details are explained per sub-menu. This would be the power user view for web admins and web development. So as you can clearly see, this is for the management of your own web hosting services and your web applications. So on the left-hand side, there is no functionality to switch to resellers or management of users. So obviously there are users, because you could allow multiple websites on this key, because web admin has 10 domains and the web app up to 5. As we stated before, you can change the icons that you want for customization reasons in this interface that's in the main in the center of the screen. And obviously this is where you would manage all the domain names and all the SSL certificates you would acquire from Openprovider, obviously. This is the end user interface. So if I would actually, if my provider would enable my hosting services via, for instance, a web host edition, then I could subscribe via the website. I would enlist as a new customer, and I would receive a login information and credentials to use my, let's say, shared web hosting package. Then this would be an end user view. I could log in remotely and manage my services. So this would be the end user interface. This is where I, as an end customer, would manage all my services for web applications and hosting purposes, as opposed to the first screen we showed, which is the admin interface for the service provider. So just a quick wrap up what we just discussed. So what is the purpose of Plesk? Plesk provides core server security and simplifies web servers and website administrative tasks. So the setup of a server, it allows you to manage plans, subscriptions, accounts, and resellers, create domains, subdomains, domain aliases, all the basic functionalities that are required for today's web hosting. You could set up email addresses, forwarding, filters, everything for your database configuration and simple web interfaces. Like we just discussed, there is a direct integration for the WordPress with our integrated WordPress toolkit, and you could obviously restore and backup and configure all your settings. This is the brief introduction I wanted to provide for you on Plesk 12, and I would like to give the word to Francisco to take you into depth and more details of Plesk.
Yeah, thank you very much. So actually in Plesk 12, we made a lot of improvements. Well, it's since Plesk 12, because we are continuing doing improvements on that. Well, we added some more utilities and management tools for getting Plesk more and more secure. And few of them, for example, could be fail to ban. Maybe you do know this utility. It's an automatic firewall management for your system, your Linux server. And recently, mod security, which is also a firewall, but instead for the server itself regarding the network, this firewall takes care of your website applications. So the next one is the the server shield by Cloudflare, which is included in any license, as Thomas said, but is also possible to upgrade to the premium version of this service. Then we also added in Plesk 12 the outgoing anti-spam solution, highly demanded by hosters. Regarding the WordPress toolkit, which is also very demanded, and it has also a very high market share. I mean, I think it's almost 30 or 40%. I think it's 30% of the websites of the entire world is based on WordPress. So it's very high percent of websites. And then with this utility, you can manage your themes, your plugins for all the websites or for specific websites. Also, you can secure all your WordPress websites installations in this Plesk server using this utility, this WordPress toolkit. We have included a scan tool to scan all the system files and permissions and so on. So with this utility, we can make your WordPress installation more secure. And also you can detect if any customer installed manually any WordPress application. And for example, which is the best utility for this is to find out what are and where are those old WordPress installations that are left behind. So you can still update them or contact the customer to say, hey, you remember that you have an old WordPress here. It's a security issue. So what's next in Plesk 12.5? We have made a lot of improvements on the usability of the interface, as well as some, well, it says here, supportability for web pro and web developers. We have inside the core improvements, a very demanded utility is to add incremental backups. Well, mainly it's to make a better backup tool. It uses less CPU, less disk space, and in fact, it takes less time to create the backup itself. And also it has incremental backup, very, very useful. For example, when a customer has a problem with Plesk, it might happen sometimes, or we have included this problem reporting, which makes much easier the task for our support engineer for checking the issue and resolve this ticket more in less time, mainly. Also, for those customers that are very high-level sysadmins, or they know quite a lot of Linux, so we include also some self-repair utilities that just by running one command, Plesk will reconfigure the part of the system that they need. For example, web, the email, database, or any other thing. We have also included in this Plesk 12.5 some better migration tools, and also some security improvements, like including mod security for Windows, because it was previously only for Linux. Then for the web developers and web pros, we included also some needed functionality, which is be able to choose multiple versions of PHP, and also to support the latest versions of PHP from 5.2 to 5.6, as far as I remember. And then make PHP more secure by including this mod RUID too, and make some more flexible configurations for websites. So independent websites can have their own PHP configuration, which is what it was not so easy in previous version to do that. Then included also some PHP FPM model, which increases the performance of PHP, either for Apache or for Nginx. And we also restructure some of the UI for having a better database management. Utility is very useful for tracking errors in the log files for each website. Since Plesk 12, we also included some software development kit for it. So anybody can create a module or an extension to Plesk to manage some, for example, something very useful is to manage an external bind name server. So Plesk can propagate the DNS zones from the customers to an external DNS server. That's one example. There are more than 40 extensions available. And we have also some strategic partnership with servers here from Cloudflare, because we include the free version of this service on every edition of Plesk. And for example, the same happens with Atomic Corp. With the mod security rules, we include the free version on every edition also, and we offer them to your customers or yourselves some other partnerships also. And the newest one is with Yola, which is going to be available by the end of this year. So more in-depth look for this Plesk 12.5 is that we have made better this log browser. Okay, we can see that we can search for some strings. Let's say I want to see all the errors in the log files. I don't have to go inside the file browser, then jump inside each folder to reach where are the log files and then download them. This is not needed anymore. We can just see the log files directly on the user interface and search for specific strings, which makes log browsing much easier. The second, well, it's also included for Windows. So both Linux and Windows have this log browser. Then the next one is the built-in code editor for web pro and web developers. Well, mainly this is for web developers. It's just a web code editor, so it highlights the strings, specific strings for code generation. About, I already mentioned it before that we have included a reworked user interface for database management. So here you can see that we have in the background a list of all the databases here we have. And if we click show more, we can see some utilities very demanded, like export a dump file of this database in local, in native language. So it's MySQL, so it will be MySQL dump. And then we can also import an SQL dump file to this database. And no more only that, we can check and repair this database. Also, when creating a new user for databases available for MySQL and Microsoft SQL Server, we can add some privileges for this user. So one user can access many websites of this subscription or only specific websites, and also which role he will have, if he can only look or do selects, or if he can also interact and do some changings and some inserts, for example. Next one is that we also support the new versions of MySQL 5.6 for Linux and Windows, and also a new one which is MariaDB version 10. We have also reworked the scheduler of our Plesk. This is available in any edition. Previously, we had a very, let's say, command line scheduler. We just could enter a script or a command we want to run, and we select which user and so on. Now it's much more easier for web pros and web developers. So actually they can fetch a website instead of just putting the command to get wget or cur a website with some parameters. And we can also say that, okay, I want to check this, and if there is an error, notify me by email. Only once or every time this error happens. Much more comprehensive cron tasks. So next one is PHP choices. We have also, as I said before, included multiple PHP versions for Linux and Windows, from 5.2 to 5.6, which is the latest one as far as I remember. And some common models like PHP Encrypt, Opcache, Zend, IonCube, and Fortimore. And we also provide with those developer packages for PHP. So you can actually create newer versions of PHP. Regarding the performance, as I said before, we have included PHP FPM model for Apache. And if you don't like Apache, you can use Nginx also. So it uses less CPU, less memory. In fact, it gives less footprint to your system. And also you can still modify the parameters for each PHP of each website. Backup improvements, as I said before, we have included for the first time the incremental backups. Okay, very demanded. And we also included encryption of the backup using a password instead of the Plesk key used in this case, as it was before, the Plesk 12.5. And now backup manager, as it says here, does not need to save the backup locally and then copy the files to the FTP. So it uses a new way to do that, which is just streaming the backup directly into the FTP. So it uses no local disk space. And last but not least, we have also included some Plesk repair tools. Like for example, here we have 4 examples, which is Plesk repair all, Plesk repair only this domain for all the services of this domain, or Plesk repair only email system of the server. And then of course the help to show all the possible options like FTP, MySQL, repair the database, and so on. And also repair the installation of Plesk if Plesk has a problem. This is both available for Linux and Windows. Okay, it needs to be called by client. I mean, in Linux you have to be on SSH as root, and in Windows you have to be on remote desktop, then enter the command line using the administrator user. But as the admin of this server, you can still quickly fix any issue on Plesk, either on Plesk or any service. And this also replaces every different utility we had before, like NCHK, which is only for email, Web Server Manager, which is only for web system. We just make this easier for everyone. And also, well, it says here that it can repair privileges in vhosts if someone just changes privileges. We can just fix that, very easy. So yeah, that was all from my side. And do you have any question?
Oh, okay, probably I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that it is possible to use several PHP versions.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would like to use that feature, does it mean that my license will be more expensive?
No, it's included in the editions.
Yeah, but maybe I misunderstand something, but I thought that before it was that functionality was done through Cloud Linux, no?
No, before that functionality was only available for those people that they use our documentation to create a PHP version, to compile a PHP for their system. And now we ship them for you. So we already offer you this PHP 5.2 or 5.6 directly in the installer of Plesk or the updater of Plesk. So we already done the work for you.
Okay, great. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Thomas, I think it's your turn for Virtuozzo.
Yes, thank you. Let's proceed with Odin Virtuozzo. Just to clarify again, we launched Virtuozzo, many years ago. We have had a change from Virtuozzo to name of Parallels Cloud Server. This is to do with the fact that we actually, besides having the container virtualization technique, also introduced a hypervisor virtualization technique to allow you to actually have virtual machines as a hypervisor, and not necessarily only containers, as Virtuozzo was quite known for the container virtualization technique. After we had introduced the renaming to Parallels Cloud Server, at the beginning of this year, we changed names from Parallels to Odin. So at this stage, to make it confusing, and I want to have this straight, we went from Virtuozzo to Parallels Cloud Server, and at this stage, the rebranding is back to Odin Virtuozzo. So everybody's on the same page that Virtuozzo is the same product as Parallels Cloud Server. We've only changed the name to the initial name. So like I already said, well, Virtuozzo it's basically what the unique selling point for Virtuozzo is the virtualization technique that's container-based. The container does not require a dedicated operating system. That means you use less resources from the server when making a virtual with a container. So that means you could run either let's say a VPS container. You dedicate one server, or you assign one Plesk key to a container. Then it means you have a VPS only on container base. You could run it with applications. That's something we will zoom in a little later. The unique point of container virtualization is the high performance, high density, the scalability of the virtual machine. So you can get the maximum out of your resources by containers, opposed to the hypervisor virtualization, which is also supported by Virtuozzo. So Virtuozzo supports both container virtualization and hypervisor. So you could run as well the hypervisor virtualization with guest operating systems per virtual machine. So classic hypervisor virtualization with virtual machines is included. It's unified management for both virtualization techniques. And we have a rebootless update version which eliminates service outages during updates. And in addition to Parallels Cloud Server, because at the stage that when we introduced Cloud Server, we also introduced Parallels Cloud Server Storage. So at this stage, it's with the renaming, it's called Virtuozzo Storage. So I don't want to confuse you. Virtuozzo is the name of the virtualization technology, and Virtuozzo Storage is an additional service to Virtuozzo. Virtuozzo as a standalone service is a virtualization technique, which is highly scalable. Virtuozzo Storage is an addition to make it highly available. Normally, obviously, Plesk is a single server solution. When you have either a VPS server farm, or if you have a lot of servers running with Plesk for shared hosting services, once in a while a server has a defect, or there's a malfunction on the server, there's a server outage. It never happens on a Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock when you're at work. It always happens at Friday evening, 9 o'clock just before the weekend. You have to go to the data center, restore the hardware, reboot the server, and otherwise you have a service outage and your customers are calling you. With Virtuozzo Storage, you could actually enable all your servers into let's say a cloud storage facility where all the hardware is connected to each other and the servers know each other. This basically facilitates the automatic recovery from hardware and software failures. It uses the unutilized services or the unused disk space of your current server farm. That means the high density container virtualization maximizes the hardware efficiency, as cloud storage also balances the load in case of any hardware or software failure. It improves the storage performance by distributing the load, and it's highly scalable. Actually, we have a great video that will demonstrate the use of Virtuozzo Storage. It's a video posted last year, so the branding will be with reference to Parallels, but it's a clip of 2 minutes only, and it will show you the unique points of Virtuozzo Storage.
Parallels Cloud Storage is a distributed, shared storage solution that dramatically improves server availability and performance. Parallels Cloud Storage eliminates server downtime due to hardware failures, reduces maintenance and support costs, and delivers high-performance, high-availability servers that will satisfy the most demanding customer applications. And lastly, Parallels Cloud Storage lays the foundation for future storage-as-a-service solutions. Parallels Cloud Storage is cost-effective and uses existing hardware, making it much less expensive than SAN alternatives that require dedicated storage arrays and networks. Parallels Cloud Storage is also high-performance, with speeds comparable to local disks. Fault-tolerant and redundant, ensuring 100% availability, and scales easily as you grow. Parallels Cloud Storage works by turning disk space on your hardware nodes into a single pooled cloud storage resource, Service providers typically deploy 1 to 2 terabytes of storage on hard drives in the node. However, on average, over 50% of this disk space is not utilized and can't be shared across other nodes. Parallels Cloud Storage solves this problem by connecting the hard drives in multiple hardware nodes into a storage cluster that is shared across all nodes. When virtual servers are provisioned on the nodes, the storage is replicated and distributed across the storage cluster. If one hardware node fails, the virtual servers on the failed node can be instantly provisioned on a functional node and remain operational using replicated storage in the storage cluster. When the failed node returns to operation, Parallels Cloud Storage automatically brings its drives back into the storage cluster, and new virtual servers can again be provisioned on the node. Parallels Cloud Storage expands easily and scales to petabytes. As new nodes are added, Parallels Cloud Storage automatically rebalances to ensure even distribution of storage across the cluster. Parallels Cloud Storage transforms how you deliver the cloud with scalable, low-cost storage. Start providing the highest performance, highest reliability cloud services today with Parallels Cloud Storage.
So again, the references in the movie are in this short clip are to Parallels Cloud Server. So that is at this stage Virtuozzo, and the service to actually connect all the services together is Virtuozzo Storage.
Now it's my turn again. So on the latest versions of Virtuozzo, we included support for Docker because it was pushy. So everybody was talking about Docker. Maybe some people doesn't know about what is Docker. So what is Docker? Docker is a platform for mainly developers. I use it also for sysadmins that they allow the developers create an application. Okay, it can be a website, it can be an operating system utility, or it can be a database system for whatever. Okay, they can build this application on their laptop, and then they can easily move this application to any cloud provider using Docker. So it allows very fast moving or deployment of applications. Okay, actually, what happens is that nobody can use container virtualization. So they use virtual machines or hypervisor virtualization, which for each customer, the provider creates a virtual machine and then installs Docker inside the virtual machine. That, unfortunately, adds extra layers on this system, on the customer, on the end user Docker container. It adds more layers here, so it makes the system less efficient. And then for each virtual machine, it has less density. With Virtuozzo, instead of using the hypervisor virtualization, we use the benefits of the containers. So we eliminate the hypervisor layer. We get the profit of sharing the same kernel from the container with the hardware node. And then we make this physical server very high density, and we maintain the same security standards for the containers for each user using these Docker containers. So actually what we provide with Virtuozzo plus Docker is the secure of the container technology, the fast deployment and resources agility, to assign resources basically, or to modify the resources of the container very easily, and the high density and high performance of the Virtuozzo store, the Virtuozzo containers. No questions?
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
When I'm talking to the customers, usually they and asking what kind of virtualization software they are using, they are saying that they are very cost effective and they are trying to use open source solutions. And most of them, they say they're using OpenVZ. You know what is it, right?
Yeah.
So the question, the sales questions actually, is how do we upsell them from OpenVZ and from other open source solutions to Virtuozzo? What Virtuozzo can offer that these open source things cannot offer, which can really sell basically and make convincing enough for the customer to switch.
Okay, so your customer is the administrator of this OpenVZ physical server, right?
Yeah, well, they are using OpenVZ for the virtualization. So I want to sell them Virtuozzo. What should I do?
Okay, so well, first of them is probably the utilities of Virtuozzo, because we provide more easiness, let's say this way, to create, to modify the resources, and to also eliminate a container. And not only to create them, we also provide some very useful tools to migrate a container using live migration, which I think it's not possible in OpenVZ, or maybe in older versions of OpenVZ. I still remember.
So basically, what you're saying is that it's manageability.
Yeah, manageability, and also I can show you a bit later at the end of the presentation one slide which has a graphic of the density, and you will see that OpenVZ has much less density or less performance in this case than
but OpenVZ doesn't allow container-based virtualization. That's what you mean, right?
No, OpenVZ is the open source virtualization of Virtuozzo containers. So
yes.
they use the same technique, but in open source, and it's less.
So basically, through OpenVZ, those people can do both container virtualization and virtual machine virtualization.
No, only containers.
Only containers, okay.
Yeah, and for example, they are only stick to Linux containers. They cannot run OpenVZ and then create inside a Windows container. With Virtuozzo, they can do that.
Ivan and Francisco, looking at the clock, we only have 5 minutes left. That's exactly enough for the Web Business Builder sneak peek. I suggest we take the discussion offline after the call to discuss with Ivan directly the differences between OpenVZ and Virtuozzo. Is that a good suggestion?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, thank you. So, like I said, I won't take you much longer than 5 more minutes. Odin Web Business Builder will replace the legacy products Site Builder and Web Presence Builder. Web Business Builder is let's say we've co-developed with a third party, which is Yola. Yola is, perhaps people know them from Web Presence Services. It's an, let's say, trial subscription which you could start out with, which is a single pager, a one pager, which is a static website with limited functionalities. And the more features you actually add to your website, the additional pages, or let's say a contact page, or a button that says call me directly as, I don't know, a barbershop or a restaurant owner. All these additional features are kind of upsell opportunities to your users. So Web Business Builder will be launched by the end of this year, and it's a Premier Cloud-based web presence solution that enables any SMB to build their business online. There's a direct Plesk integration with billing integration for Odin Business Automation Standard and WHMCS. As within these within this web presence, there are upsell opportunities. So for actually to have this workflow, a clean workflow between upgrading and direct payment, there should be a billing integration. API, and the generic APIs are online. So if you would use any other WHMCS or Odin Business Automation Standard online store, then you could actually find within the documentation the correct procedure how to integrate create a custom billing integration. Web Business Builder will let you choose from custom built templates. There are, I think, let's say 300,000 stock photos you could use by a simple drag and drop interface for feature like galleries, contact form, and responsive mobile designs. I do hope this picture is sharp enough for you to view from your desktop. Some key features are that there are 220 standardized templates which you can modify by drag and drop. There's a standardized mobile responsive template which is included. Advanced statistics, visitor statistics, customizable forms for lead generations, contact forms, etc. Social sharing links, integration options for, let's say, Twitter, Facebook, password protected pages, Google Analytics, Webmaster, and Maps integrations, SEO customizations, and 17 user interface languages at this stage. Some advanced features for upsell opportunities are responsive mobile optimizations, Facebook publishing, an additional 400,000 images you could use for your website, CSS editing, site with HTML additions. We will launch Web Business Builder in 3 editions. So that means most likely Openprovider will offer you the package Web Business Builder Starter, Web Business Builder Unlimited, or Web Business Builder Premium, which you could start, which you could use. And again, I refer you to your Openprovider account manager for a pricing overview on this new feature. As explained, it starts with 3 pages, which is a limited set. So you get all the functionalities, but it's only a limited website in terms of site storage and the templates and the pages you have, and you can upgrade to an unlimited version of a premium version. 30-day trial is supported, responsive design, let's see, social media features are limited in the start and unlimited version and available in the Web Business Premium version. Best feature of it all is that we offer it as a own provider version, or if you would actually want to resell it as a service provider, it's available for a white branded version as well. And you would have to obtain 3 parameters from Odin and Openprovider to actually set up the account, and you get direct access from Odin and Yola to actually set up your white branded web presence engine, let's say. So it's a completely white labeled solution, easy integration for service automation and Odin Plesk. Like we said, intuitive increase of upsell opportunities. The 30 days trial is included. In-app contextual messaging drives customers to automatically upgrade themselves online, and there is a cross-sell opportunity between your web presence solution as Web Business Builder is and additional cloud services with online security, for instance. Do we have any questions at this stage?
Well, I just wanted to clarify. Do I understand correctly that Web Business Builder is the next level of the Web Presence Builder, basically, which basically provides some more extensive functionality? Correct.
This will this won't be. It's a new product. It will replace Web Presence Builder, and we are currently working on an upgrade path to actually upgrade from Web Presence Builder to Web Business Builder. But it's not, for instance, it's not that Web Presence Builder is version 1.0 and Web Business Builder is 2.0. It's a completely new product, which will indeed, we've announced the end of life. I think you could actually find the announcement end of life lifecycle management policy for Web Presence Builder on the Odin website, and Web Business Builder will become the new premium web presence feature from Odin.
Okay, then I think if there are no further questions left, then we have to end the webinar for today. I want to thank you, Thomas and Francisco, for the explanation and the nice presentation. I would like to invite everybody, if there are any questions left, please to feel free to contact our sales department, and then we are happy to help you in any questions that are out there. Also, I would like to ask you to check our newsletters that are coming, because of course we will have other webinars coming up the next month, some about SSL, and I think the next one is on the 8th of October. So please sign up. And again, thank you everybody. Thank you Thomas and Francisco, and hope to see you next time.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to present Odin products. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.